Longplay 4K Review, Call of Duty 5 World at War. It's World War II all over again. Evil Japanese, brave Americans, brutal Germans and Russians in iconic hats. It would seem that after the magnificent modern warfare with its grandiose high-tech nuclear mushroom, Call of Duty will never be the same. It turns out, no. It has become. Atmosphere and spirit of World at War correspond to the original trilogy. But we don't see anything bad in it. The game itself turned out to be excellent. One of the best FPS of the last time, high quality, balanced, interesting. However, not without flaws. So, the largest conflict in the history of mankind. In World at War you will have to play for Americans and Russians. The first are trying, and they do it well, to break through the Japanese defense in the Pacific, the second are breaking through to Berlin. In the Allied campaign we will have to get into the role of Marine Miller, rescued from Japanese captivity by Corporal Roebuck. Is life getting better? No, it's not. Now he has to go through real hell, survive the loss of battle buddies and put down several hundred, if not thousands of aggressive Asians. And the fact that the fights will not be too easy, will take care of advanced high and a huge number of opponents. Only, at once we warn you against choosing an easy difficulty level. The real Call of Duty begins in the most difficult mode. All the charms of tactical maneuvers, the feeling of fighting, or rather, meat grinder, understand only when you play really difficult. The developers, and this is already familiar to us Team Treyarch, managed to convey not only the spirit of war, but also the differences in the mentalities of the opposing sides. By the way your American comrades behave, you understand that they don't want to die and value life. In simple terms, they don't rush headlong into the thick of it. That's like the Japanese. Out of ammunition? No problem. They will gladly run straight to you, trying to put a rifle bayonet or a knife in your heart. Of course, they don't have much chance against bullets. But the very feeling of fighting an enemy who thinks quite differently from you is impressive. The war with the Germans, something we've seen many times before, is also quite compelling. The main protagonist here is Private Dmitry Petrenko, who had to experience the death of his squad members and watch the Germans execute the survivors. Then he locally took revenge by killing the leader who ordered to shoot his comrades. This is the first Russian mission. Now he can take revenge in a big way, reaching Berlin and capturing the capital of Nazi Germany. A very dramatic moment. As for the feelings of the heroes, unfortunately, they are not too convincing in World at War. Before us is a game, an action movie, where the main thing is the action itself. You should not look for melodrama here. There is brothers in arms, hell's highway for that. However, what World at War does not lack is spectacularity. We are probably the most colorful game about the Second World War. You won't be bored. There is no monotony here. At first you get out of captivity under the cover of night. In the next mission you are already trying to land on the shore. By the way, this moment here is done on 5+. Abundance of equipment, air, water, land, explosions all around, drops of water flying in the face, people dying, the ocean is filled with blood. And then you miraculously step on land. There's no time to think. You have to act quickly and precisely. We set up a point for an airstrike. And in a couple of seconds, we watch the missiles blow the enemy away. Complex, large scale and very beautiful. By the way, Call of Duty, World at War graphics is even more impressive than in Modern Warfare. The developers managed to draw extremely realistic effects. Take, for example, the realization of water. It is not only properly shiny and boasts shaders. These are trifles. The main thing, splashes, realistic waves, for example, from the boat, and the way in it peep, say, corpses. We also liked the landscapes themselves. Fascinating sky, beautiful vegetation, land, on which no polygons were spared. The same with the effects. You can admire the work of the flamethrower, interacting with any type of surface, as long as you want. And how black-orange ash flies through the air after explosions. There are no exorbitant system requirements here. World at War can be played quite comfortably on entry-level systems. From the very first frames you realize that the project is expensive. Good soundtrack, such compositions are called heroic, quality production of videos and, most importantly, the voice acting of the game's heroes was done by actors of the highest level. Such as Kiefer Sutherland, from the Cult 24 and Gary Oldman, from Dracula. However, not everything is smooth. The first thing that is annoying is the extreme linearity. A step to the side is excluded. Moreover, sometimes you won't even be allowed to enter open doors or follow the path that, for example, your partners have chosen. In 2008, this isn't so much frustrating as it is making you laugh. Nor did I like the extreme scrambling. Enemies will always and everywhere appear in strictly designated places, and minor plot scenes will be repeated time after time. It's a good thing when you're looking at it for the first time. But there are moments when you have to replay one place a dozen times. And the Japanese falling on your head is not impressive at all. Another point is the abundance of program errors. New Call of Duty is full of various glitches. On many systems, in order to start playing, you need to turn off the modem speaker. Or, even worse, often the game hangs intentionally before the clips. How to cope? You press Alt plus Tab, exit to Windows, after a couple seconds back into the game and watch the splash screen. Activision has released a patch. But here's the trouble, it not only did not help, but made the game even more unstable. Well, and, of course, there are little things like pop-ups on the desktop. And finally, the last thing, the game is too short. 5-7 hours and that's it, the finale. On the other hand, you'll remember these 5-7 hours and get a lot of pleasure from passing World at War, if you can deal with bugs, of course. In addition, there is a multiplayer mode, which can significantly extend the life of the game. Which, if you put aside the programmer's shortcomings, is almost a perfect WW2 shooter. And a worthy continuation of the series. Pros, beautiful, diverse game, in which you will never be bored. Cons, a huge number of serious program errors, linearity in the worst sense of the word,